So now we're still on chapter 1. Let's talk about who must file. And actually in the textbook, it'll tell you to go look at some information. You must file a hard copy to your IRS or e-file. It's due on the 15th day of the 4th month, which is usually April 15th. However, if it falls on a weekend, it's due on the next business day, and there are some exceptions to that, and you can read that. So let's talk about filing status, okay? If you're going to be single filing status, here's kind of what it means. You have to be unmarried or legally separated as of December 31st, and you cannot be qualified as one of the other statuses. So this just gives you an understanding of the filing status. Filing status is extremely important because it'll help you identify how you're going to file. And based upon, you might fall into 2 different statuses, and of course you'll want to take the one that'll give you the best refund or the best tax rate. Head of household, this is probably the one that's most misunderstood. It has a lower tax table. You have to be unmarried or abandoned as of December 31st and pay for more than 50% the cost of upkeeping a home for a dependent child or qualifying dependent relative. And we'll talk about this later on. Okay, so you can be head of household. And also here's qualifying widowers with a dependent child. Okay, let's keep moving along. We're still looking at filing statuses. There are 7 tax brackets for 2019. And again, things change every year, but they pretty much stay the same. So you're going to fit into one of these tax brackets based upon your income level. And so it's really important to know your filing status and do you have qualifying dependents. Because I'd much rather be in the 10% than the 24%. So let's talk about qualifying dependents. So we're going to cover this on the next few slides. Prior to the TCJ, which doesn't make a difference because it's in place till 2025, I could have taken exception for myself and my spouse, but that's gone now, okay? So now a dependent can qualify as either a qualifying child or a relative. It does not have to actually be a child. So here is the test. There's a test for everything with the IRS. A qualifying child, 6 tests are met. With 6 tests, remember, relationship test. It has to be your child, stepchild, adopted child, or so on. Domicile test. The child has to live at the same place you do for more than half the year. Age test, under 19 or a full-time student under 24. Full-time means at least 5 months a year. Joint return test. In other words, somebody else cannot claim this person on their return, or you cannot file, the child cannot file a joint return with the spouse. Citizenship test has to be a U.S. citizen and self-support. That means if the child provides more than half of their own support, they cannot qualify under the self-support. So this is qualifying dependents, particularly qualifying child. Well, actually, it could be dependents too, but we're going to get to that on the next slides. Okay, so what if a child meets dependency requirements for more than one taxpayer? This is a scenario where parents might be separated and they're sharing custody of the children. They really need to talk to each other to find out who's going to claim them. They cannot both claim them. Okay, so you can actually read through here, and this talks about that. I'm not going to go into detail. The next, let's look at that qualifying relative, because this might be more. So here there are only 5 tests. So the relationship test, okay, it must be a member of your household. Gross income, they cannot have income equal to or in excess of $4,200. However, Social Security benefits are not included. Okay, support test, you must give them support more than half of their them for half of a year at least. And then the last 2 are a joint return. They can't file a joint return and they have to be a citizen. So you can actually have a qualifying dependent that you actually take care of that can actually be you can claim them as a head of household. Like elderly parents, elderly siblings. Okay, So now we're going to talk about a little bit more credits for dependents. This slide talks about that. It's covered more in chapter 7. So this ends video number 3. And video number 4, we're going to start on standard deductions.